The Washington Commanders absolutely destroy the Carolina Panthers 40-7. Washington keeps rolling, and the Carolina Panthers look like the absolute worst team in the NFL, possibly teetering on the lines of one of the worst teams in NFL history. Let's talk about it. Folks, to start this episode, I honestly don't know where to go. I really don't. I took down a bunch of notes. It's not even worth discussing the box score, the highlights. At this point, after what we just saw on national TV, I tweeted this out. It wasn't national TV. Don't get me wrong, it was not. Thankfully, 49ers in Kansas City was national TV. We're the 405 slot. We got in, we got out, got our butt whooping handed to us here for the folks in the Carolinas, Virginia, Maryland, that surrounding area, DC. Those are the folks that had to deal with it. And I will say, starting off, hats off to the Washington Commanders. My goodness, the Dan Quinn and team and that defense and offense ran by Marcus Mariota take care of business. We have some issues in Carolina. I'm talking major issues. And we've stacked up the excuses, or we've tried to make reasoning about the team, and I have, about the defense and the lack of players. Folks, these type of losses, these type of games are when you see changes happening to the team. I'm talking about coaches getting fired. Do I think that Dave Canales is going to be the one that gets fired? No. But I would not be shocked if tomorrow or at some point during this week, probably be tomorrow if we were going to do it or if they were going to do it, there's a statement about Evero getting fired. And folks, I have tried to be lenient with the rationale that I give on critiquing him and being, as nice as I can to this staff. I understand what they're playing with, what they're dealing with the hand they have. I get that. I really do. But these are NFL players, folks, and NFL coaches and professionals, and you are not supposed to get pushed around the way this team is, giving up over 200 yards rushing, looking like we cannot tackle, no pressure, having Marcus Mariota run all over us. The Panthers are absolutely blessed that Jaden Daniels was out. And one, I hope Jaden Daniels is okay. He made us look silly in the short amount of time he was there. It looks like, I don't have an official report. I don't follow the Commanders, so I don't know. But I think all signs, it looks like ribs, and he was laughing on the sideline. I think he, probably made a decision that, hey, I actually don't need to be out there. We're already up. And I don't blame him for not risking injury against what is basically a bye week. Not say this is a bye week for opposing teams that play us now. It's a bye week for the officials because, to be honest, nobody really cares. Like when the Panthers are getting blown out by whatever the score is, they just sit back, watch it, let it go. It's pathetic. It is absolutely pathetic to see what we're watching every single Sunday. And I say we, I don't know how many people are watching this. I see so many folks now on my timeline that have said they are done with the Carolina Panthers. I really wish I was done too. I'm going to keep doing this. That's like, it's another week of me having to say that, but it sucks, man. It's not fun. It is not fun making content, following a team to the level that I do, spending the energy that I spend, watching this team crumble and continue to be just straight up garbage. Man, I did not think we would hit another rock bottom. I'm like, every time we turn around, it's like you think the Panthers have hit rock bottom. They find a new one, and it feels very, very close to last year. It is teetering in that territory, and there's a lot of questions that are going to continue to come up for Dave Canales and Dave Canales to answer as the head coach of this football team. And I question some of the decisions that he is making at the top, which we'll get into, in just a little bit. But I really do question him as a head coach right now. And it's hard for me to do that because I do believe in him. And I'm not saying he should be fired, but I don't like what the decision-making that's happening around some of the guys on this team. And I cannot take him seriously at this point in time. I can't. I cannot do it. The old coach speak that we're getting from him, the rah-rah, the positivity, it is wearing off. And I'm not saying he needs to change, but I tweeted this when New England lost and Mayo went on their presser. He called the team out and called them soft. We never hear Canales talking about how weak and soft and I was going to say inefficient, but yeah, inefficient, whatever you want to call it on this defense, how piss poor this team is. It's never called out. And we just go through the motions week after week. I mean, to be honest, what we just watched was a televised practice for the Washington Commanders. And I got to tell you, I don't know how the NFL let that get on TV. For real. Here's the other thing. Bank of America, at least the staff, not Bank of America, but Panthers front office, likely, this is my recommendation. Either give away tickets to let people come or maybe look at investing in tarps so you can close off parts of the stadium and force everyone into the lower bowl. Like this was an MLS soccer match or a smaller sporting event like the Bulk Bowl or whatever bowl games are coming in. I can't remember. The Mayo Bowl, Duke's Mayo Bowl. Talking my age there. Maybe you should do that. Maybe buy some tarps, get people into the lower section. It is pathetic. There's no other way to put what this team is. We'll start at the top with my notes, and my notes kind of go all around, but we'll touch on a lot of topics. I'll give you, of course, my opinions on everything. Can we talk about Marcus Mariota? And we're going to get into the stat lines a little bit later. I guess maybe towards the end. That's usually when I do that. They absolutely shredded the Carolina Panthers, folks. And I say he. I don't know how you let this happen. I can't tell you. The Panthers are seriously fortunate, like I said, that Jaden Daniels was not back there the whole game because he would have made the Panthers look even worse. When we talk about over or unders and point spreads, the Washington Commanders almost single-handedly carried the over-under. 40-7. Like, are you kidding me? So hats off to Mariota. Hats off to that team in general. Frankie Louvu, which, like I said, we'll get into the box score, but the team did what they had to do. But we got to start fresh out of the gate with our man. Let's get it here. Sorry, my score line here is messed up. Starting off with the one and only Andy Dalton. And folks, it was bad. It was absolutely terrible. The Panthers are driving down the field, putting together a pretty good drive, moving the ball efficiently. What do we have? It was 3rd and 9 from the Washington 25. We are guaranteed at a minimum 3 points. Like, unless you miss the field goal, shank it, it's blocked, there is a very good chance you come away with 3 points and you are up 3-0. 3-0, right? Makes it an efficient drive. I mean, let's look. It was a 9-play drive, 61 yards, 3 minutes, 46 seconds off the clock. Panthers continue to do this. They continue to move the ball. They look good in spurts. And you have the Dante Fowler interception, return for a touchdown, pick six, 67 yards. It was just a terrible throw. I saw some folks that said Andy Dalton should have dirted it. I fully agree with that. He should have threw the ball in the dirt. I cannot understate. This team is not built to play from behind, both defensively and offensively. We've got to put points on the board and then hope that the defense catches a break somewhere along the way as a team moves the ball, which that's probably not going to happen, but at least to an extent, being able to, hey, you know what, we'll make a stop every now and then. That's what this team is built on, and it did not happen. So you go from 3-0 to 7-0. Then they drive down. They score the field goal. We come off the turnover. We have the punt. But then they go back, score 12 plays, 90 yards. We actually get a stop. get a stop and hold them to a field goal, and it's only 10-0. So if you go back, at the very least, it would have been 3-3. But now, or 3-0. Either way, it doesn't matter. And the Panthers simply imploded. They could not handle it at all. So I called out Andy Dalton. His overall performance, and again, I guess we can look at stat lines in a minute. We'll talk through them then. But it's so bad, folks. And I feel bad for Panthers fans. I know there were some brown paper bags at Washington. I want to call it FedEx Field, whatever, Northwest Field now, Stadium Field that it's called. They were there. I don't know what to tell you, man. I really don't know what to tell Panthers fans. And we are starting to see Panthers fans check out. And we didn't expect a lot this year. We did not. But we are talking about a team now that likely is not going to win another game. Maybe one. Maybe the Saints fall apart worse than we do. We look on the back half of the schedule, it is 10 times worse. I feel sorry for the folks in Germany. I have folks in Germany that listen to this show. I'm sorry to the Panthers fans in Germany and NFL fans that are going to have to watch the Panthers and the Giants. Panthers being one of the worst teams, pushing for the worst team in football. It is just a mess. Spent a lot of time talking about Andy Dalton, and I guess we'll get into my thoughts around him and Bryce in just a little bit, because I do have some opinions that I want to provide. Back to the defensive side of the ball, though, with Evero. I do think, like I said, there is a very good chance that someone gets fired, and it's an effort thing. And maybe that starts with Canales. I don't know. It is a lack of effort that we are seeing. Allowing 200-plus rushing yards it's ridiculous. There is no way you should be giving up over 200 yards on the ground. This is not the wishbone offense that's run in college where teams run for 300-plus yards. This is an NFL team, an NFL defense. The excuses have to stop. I'm not saying we're going to win games, but we've got to be a little bit more competitive than we are. It felt like last year, the Tennessee game, when Frank got fired, the F-bomb heard all around the world when Tepper stormed out of the locker room, and it was reported, and then we, of course, find out the next day that Frank's gone. I don't think Tepper is crazy enough to fire someone right now. I don't. But I could see change. I don't know if it's fair. I really don't. But to the same extent, other teams have injuries. Other teams face adversity. Yes, this current staff was not put in a good position because of the past regimes and coaches. But when you think about the grand picture, though, if you say that as a statement, who has been here through it all? And it's Tepper. And my gosh, I like to stay away from Tepper as a conversation topic just because it's overused or overplayed. But in this instance, it's got to be talked about. Is he going to sell the team? I doubt it. But it would be pretty nice if he did and just moved on to something else. Stick with Charlotte FC. Just do that. Let that be your thing. Figure out how to get a Major League Baseball team in town. Go ruin that. We are years away, folks. We are years away from being competitive. And I said that last year, thinking, we'll make the next step. And it has been atrocious. When I talk about firings and who's getting fired, and someone tweeted, I think it was Mike K, talking about grades and how do you fix this, and posted his article. But I said, the way you fix it is you sell the team. That's the only way. I feel, and again, I don't even think that would solve it, but he's the one who's been here through all of this. Let's talk about how bad this defense is. They are giving up about 34.7 points. Folks, if we were to track this, we are talking the worst defense in NFL history. Not in this year, entire history of the NFL, most points allowed. And they would shatter the record probably by 30 or 40 points if they stay on pace. Would likely even shatter those that had a 16-game schedule. That is how bad it is. 34.7 points per game, on pace to give up almost 600 points. It is, I get it. I know the injuries have occurred. I understand all that. It is freaking terrible. It is so bad. I mean, we talked about moving from the 3-4 to the 4-3. We've talked about the rotation of players. I understand players are out. Why would any player outside of money want to come here? And unfortunately, I think this has burned Evero's case for becoming a head coach, at least for a year, which is another reason I think he's gone no matter what. Like, nobody's going to pick him up right now. It doesn't help his case because as a head coach, you've got to be able to adapt to any situation and make the most of what you have. And if you're presumed to be a good coach, you should be able to do that. And they are not. Offensively, when we talk about Dave Canales, who is the play caller and helping, of course, on the offensive side of the ball, what is up with him in abandoning the run? I don't understand how we get into these holes and it's still close. How did someone not have the intel? Because they have the same broadcast that we do. They could see Jaden Daniels on the sideline. They could see him not out there playing, throwing his helmet down in frustration, and sit down and say, hey, folks, hey, guys, we're only down 10. We're only down 10 points, but guess what? Jaden Daniels is likely out. We're going to be rolling with Marcus Mariota. They're going to be a little more conservative. He's a veteran quarterback. Sure, he's going to know how to read the defense and play a little bit better from that perspective. But outside of that, like, hey, it's going to be a little bit slower. Maybe we can get some pressure. Maybe we can force some turnovers and play our game. But we try to play hero ball, and we just continue to pass. As soon as, and the broadcast even called it down, as soon as the Panthers start trailing, Dave Canales freaks out, man. He freaks out and says, all right, it's time to divert. We've got to pass. We've got to pass, as if we're just going to hit a big play. This team doesn't hit big plays. Sure, we get a few, but not many. And not enough to just go out and air raid the entire offense and just throw and chunk it down the field. That's what led to Andy Dalton's other interception. I'm like, why are we abandoning the run when you talk about it as a head coach and say, that's your philosophy, this is what I do, and then you don't do it, you're going to lose the fan base. You're already, I mean, I don't know if you haven't lost the locker room yet, but it's bad. It is so bad. Speaking of play calling, that fourth down play, it was like 4th and 1. We ran the same little trap inside zone to Chuba Hubbard. We get stuffed in the backfield. Ian Thomas was responsible for that missed block. He misses the block. Very easy to cut down. I mean, he gets beat off the ball if you watch the replay. He missed the play before that, which put us in this situation, and we can't even get a yard. It's a turnover. And none of this really would have mattered, but it just goes and compounds and compounds and compounds into the day for the Carolina Panthers. I've got the biggest bone. I've got a lot of bones to pick, but one of the biggest bones I have to pick is with Dave Canales and his decision to play Bryce Young late in this game for one series. And I know he said in the press conference that the plan was to play multiple series. I don't want to hear it, man. For my own sanity, for Bryce Young is a player, and I don't care if you like him or if you don't like him, and I don't care what you have to say about his size or what you don't have to say about his size. Get him out of Carolina, because I'm going to tell you what Dave Canales is doing to this kid is malpractice. It is an absolute joke to have a 37-year-old quarterback that you're scared and trying to protect for whatever reason to go win 2 games, then continuing to play or trying to play Bryce Young over Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton making mistakes. Bryce Young could do those. He could make those same mistakes. He absolutely could. And you want to ego crush this kid and put him out there in scrub time. I remember when I played basketball as a kid coming up, and I wasn't good at basketball, but I played in middle school, and it was in the second quarter with like 5 seconds to go. It was like a 15-point game. We were losing. And the coach put me in to try. I really don't know why. I was so pissed off that he put me in for 5 seconds for no reason. I was. And like, We are putting Bryce Young in meaningless football time. It does not mean a thing. Put him in when it's competitive. You're down by 20 points. What more do you want to see? And folks, I know I've been the biggest, I don't want to call it hater, but person that's kind of gotten on the Bryce. But I just want to see him. Like, what are we playing for? I question you as a coach to have a mentality to put this kid out there when it's garbage time and it means nothing. I really do. You're losing my respect, and who cares? Like, I don't care that you care about my respect and what I believe. But I like to think that a lot of Panthers fans may or may not, hopefully may, lean into my voice and what I think. And if you don't, that's cool too. But I really am frustrated at this. What kind of decision bullcrap is that? Playing him at the end of the game, like you have quite the ego, is what I like to say. And I don't know if he's lost the locker room. And we hear Andy Dalton's going to start. What is he starting for? We are 1-6. I don't care how optimistic you are. You're not in Tampa Bay. You're not in Seattle. You're not going to figure out how to win when you have a defense that is probably JV level compared to, if we were talking about NFL levels and there was a JV in the NFL, they would be on that level. There's probably a good chance you could assemble a group of the best college players right now and put out a better defense than what we have out there. It's so bad. All this compounded together, you now look at the trade deadline, and I've got to tell you, the Panthers they're going to have their phone buzzing off the hook. They're going to be sellers, and I'm a big advocate for wanting to keep these guys here. Deontay Johnson. I don't know so much about Miles Sanders, but hey, you know what? I'll respect Miles Sanders. He gave a lot of effort on that interception. He had the nice run on the jet sweep. I know people want to bash him. That's fine. But Miles Sanders, I'll put his name into the pot. And Adam Thielen, I think those are your three. It sounds like Chuba Hubbard is going to stay here. But the Panthers are going to have to turn into sellers. They're going to have to try to get what they can. And I'm not saying it's the best route. And considering we don't know how to draft, I don't know what we're really gaining versus waiting for conditional picks when these guys leave anyways. But I think it's going to get hot. The phone's going to start ringing and buzzing. You see Brandon Ayuk likely with an ACL tear in San Francisco. So the phone's going to be ringing off. And we're going to likely want to see, hey, guys coming over, making offers. So what? We can get, a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick that we're not going to hit on and watch guys leave? That's how it's going to be. So that's what I think about the trade deadline. I mean, I really don't know what to say anymore. I don't. It is a complete and utter disaster. What is next? I don't know what is next. What is next should be you personally not watching football. And for the Carolina Panthers and me, it should be pivoting to expand my content, to be honest. That's what it should be. You go against Denver. I mean, Denver coming off a nice win over New Orleans. Then we have the Saints, and then the Giants, and the bye. This team this is your final stretch. Like, these 3 games is where you can pick up one more win this year. Get to your 2 wins. Folks, we wanted to, I thought it was kind of a joke that getting to 4 wins would be considered a successful year. And now I'm like, we're not even going to get to 2 at the rate that we're going. We are not even going to get to 2 wins. That is how bad this team is, man. It's a complete and utter joke. I did promise that we would go into the box score, so without further ado, let's do it. Andy Dalton, 11 of 16, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bryce Young was 2 for 2 for -4 yards in garbage time. Chuba Hubbard, 17 for 52, 1 touchdown. Miles was 3 for 34. I know the one was 26. Xavier, 1 for 6. Andy had a few scrambles. The lone bright spot on the offense side of the ball, Jatavian Sanders, 6 receptions, 61 yards. He looked efficient today. I really liked what we saw on him in the pass-catching game. Trying to find bright spots. Positive. Jalen Coker, 1 for 10. We didn't get to see a lot of Coker. Deontay Johnson, 1 for 17. Targeted 3 times again. Ian Thomas, 2 receptions for 4 yards. Xavier Legette, 2 for 3. Miles Sanders, 1 for -6. That loss. Raheem Blackshear did fumble the ball. Luckily, we recovered. J.C. Horn with the 1 pass deflection. On the defensive side of the ball, let me go back to my actual spreadsheet. Actually, before we get into defense, let's talk about the offense for the Commanders. 18 of 23 for Marcus Mariota, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 for 2, 6 yards for Jaden Daniels. Rushing, Brian Robinson, 12 for 71, a touchdown. Jaden Daniels, 3 for 50. Boy, did he make us look silly in the time he was in. Jeremy McNichols, 7 for 42. Marcus Mariota, 11 for 34. Eckler, 4 for 17. Receiving, 6 for 98 for McLaurin. Ertz, 4 for 40. Zacchaeus, 4 for 25. De'Ami Brown. Tar Hill, 1 for 23. Noah Brown, 1 for 16. Yeah, I'm not going to read through all of theirs. Let's go look at the defensive side of the ball for Carolina Panthers, and we'll look at the final box score. A few other stats on here. Shaw Smith-Wade, 8 total tackles. Xavier Woods, 7. Trevin Wallace, 7. Chandler Wooten, 6. Did get 1 sack by Harris. So there you go. Couldn't do anything else. Talk about the undisciplined. The other thing about this team is just we are undisciplined, folks. On the defensive side of the ball, giving up, I think it was 3rd and 4, jumping off sides, giving them a free play, letting Marcus Mariota drive down the field on a 2-minute warning. They scored on every play or every drive but one. Their average starting field position was their 34. Ours was our 25. So they had a field goal, a punt, a touchdown, a field goal, touchdown, field goal, and then, of course, it was the end of the game. Panthers, meanwhile, interception, punt, turnover on downs, punt, end of the half. Then a punt, touchdown, and punt in the second half. 3 possessions in the second half. Did not see Bryce Young until that last series. So bad, man. It is absolutely pathetic. 10 first downs for the Panthers to Washington's 26. 3 for 10 on 3rd down for us. They were 5 of 10. That's 50% if you can do the math. 180 yards to 421. That is how much we were outgained. Talked about rushing, 214 yards on the ground for the Commanders. 95 for us. Passing, 207 to 85. I mean, it was just absolutely terrible. It is so bad, folks. I keep jotting down what's next. Where do you go? There's going to be a new rock bottom. It's going to continue to be bad, stay bad, and get bad. And I think Canales has like what was it? Truth Mondays? I don't even know. He's got a name for Monday. Truth Telling Mondays. My preschool, our son's in preschool, and we don't even have that many names for days of the week and events. I said, what is Sunday? Stink it up Sunday? Suck it up Sunday? Like, I don't know. Sorry we can't tackle Sundays. Sorry we can't play defense Sundays. Whatever it is so bad. Folks, if you are still here, I appreciate it. This is the end of the show. You can subscribe on YouTube. It'd be much appreciated. Or follow wherever you get your podcasts. This is CD Carolina Dad. Y'all have a good one.